You got a cancer diagnosis? Now what? Hey, it's me, Johnny, and thanks for checking out my channel. This is a video request. Somebody actually sent me an email and wanted me to do a video on the topic of just getting diagnosed with cancer. And for me, it was like, okay, I can do this one. And this is an easy one. I could talk about this day and night. But let me start out by saying that I am not a doctor. What you're going to hear is from my experience. Also, I'm not against chemotherapy or radiation. I'm not against anyone doing it. If that's what they want to do and you feel comfortable doing it, it's up to you. Everybody has their own decision to make. And I want to also tell you about my story, a little bit of it. Is back in 2010, it's going to be like all my videos condensed. You can find all the information in this video, hopefully. But back in 2010, I went to my primary care physician, and to make a long story short, he found a lump in my throat. It turned out to be papillary thyroid cancer. At the same time, I kept on complaining I had pain in my body, on my side and around the abdomen. And he kept on telling me, no, you're fine, you're going to be okay. He wanted to do more radiation, all these other treatments. I said no, I didn't want to go through it no more. I fired him, I got rid of him. I sat around to around 2013, 2014, and after a couple of night sweats and shortness of breath attacks, I decided to find out what's going on in my body. Make a long story short, 2014 I was diagnosed with B-cell intestinal non-Hodgkins lymphoma, possible stage 4. And from 2010 to 2014, I decided I didn't have any trust in the system or any confidence, because some of the words that were used in my initial consultation, it was like I was like Groundhog Day. I was reliving this, like they were reading off a script, like they had their lines practice of what they were telling me. That program one, blah, 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 blah. They said that about thyroid cancer. The sad part is that when I took control of the situation, I went back and read my initial PET scan. It showed that I had swollen lymph nodes. So I had thyroid cancer and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma at the same time. And when I got diagnosed in 2014, the first thing, anything I've learned, is don't panic, because I was living with cancer for the last 2010, 2014. Because if it happened in 2010, I had it a lot longer, and I was just doing just fine. You know, I was just living, you know, with a little bit of pain, but you know, it didn't bother me. As far as I was eating all kind of fast foods, junk food, staying up, you know, hanging out. And this is years. Cancer doesn't happen overnight. Cancer is a disconnect from self. That's the way I look at it. And it's a slow suicide because you're doing it to yourself. Your body created it. Your body can make it go away. I'll try to get into that. But the first thing I've learned after when they said a possible stage 4, there was fear that set in, but I didn't panic. There's a difference, because the cancer industry is driven by fear, because they tell you there is no cure. And what I've learned, or what I believe from my experience, is that the cure is in its prevention. That's what I believe today. And there's so much that I've learned in the last 4 years about life and about living, because now I look through a different lens when I think about life. I believe in a whole approach to cancer, healing, spirit, soul, and body. Not just one thing that's going to make it all feel better. But the initial step that I've learned, if I was going to tell you about anything, is not to panic, because you got diagnosed today, you already had it for the last couple of years of your life, and you're living just fine. You're eating all the junk food just fine. You're hanging out and partying just fine. You're beating up people just fine. You were cussing people out just fine. You were cutting people off in traffic just fine. You hated your job just fine. You hated the people around you just fine. You just hated life. And like I said, cancer is a disconnect. It's a slow suicide that you're doing to yourself. That's the first thing that I had to learn, is to get that in check. The second thing I learned was I had to educate myself, not on the cancer. I think I went to the American Cancer Society's website to look up a survival rate of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. If you ask me, I don't even know it, because I didn't focus on it. I didn't meditate on it. Also, I work in the medical system, so I know how the system works. I understand how it operates. And I think that's what really helped me navigate through it. And one thing, the most important thing that was a game changer for me was when I learned I could pick up my own medical records. I did not have to wait for my consult to go to the doctor so he can come in, pull it up on the screen, and tell me what was wrong with me. I learned to go down and pick up my own medical records and read it for myself, take my own notes, all right? Because that put me in the driver's seat. That was a game changer, reading my own medical records as to what's going on in my body. And I've learned that what I had to learn was how the body healed, all right? And picked up a bunch of books, watched a lot of videos, YouTube videos, and it was a healing process. Because one thing that I had to learn was how the immune system works. Because the immune system is what's going to heal you. Your immune system is what's going to fight cancer. Okay, your NK killer cells. Your body, you're fearfully, wonderfully made. Your body is so powerful. If people really knew how powerful it was, the healing mechanisms was, you won't waste time thinking about negative things. If you knew how the power that you had on how your body heals. And I've learned that I read books on the immune system. I learned how to read my own blood work. I learned the difference between a CAT scan, with contrast, without contrast, MRI, all these different tests. These did put me in the position to win. And the more educated I was, the better decisions I was able to make on what direction I wanted to go. And I've also learned that doctors don't heal. If you're looking for your doctor to heal, he's not going to do it. He may think because he has a white jacket on, he's going to come into your room, like that's his cape or something like that, but he can't heal you. It's your immune system that's going to heal. Every pill that you take, we call it medicine, it's really a chemical that you're ingesting into your body with a bunch of side effects. You don't need me to tell you, just if you watch TV, you watch the commercials, you'll see it for yourself. 10 seconds or 15 seconds on how great the medication is, and then the last 20, 30 seconds or the last minute or whatever. It tells you all the side effects, including death. So that was like a wake-up call for me, that I had to learn that it was my immune system that I had to work on. And that was a spirit, soul, and body approach. Not just one facet. For me, I don't believe in just the juicing. I believe in forgiveness. I believe in meditation and prayer. These things was the things, or the catalyst that helped me get my life back. And I think I did it between 6 to 8 months. I went from a possible stage 4 down to a stage 1. And I thank God for the journey. I thank God that I was able to get a second chance at life and to live, not to teach and to educate, which I spend a lot of time doing. And step number 3, okay, we did don't panic. We did you want to educate yourself. For me, step number 3 is to build a healing team. Now, a healing team consists of, when I found out I had the power to fire my doctors just to get rid of them. If I didn't feel comfortable with my doctor, my oncologist, initial oncologist that I worked with, I just didn't feel comfortable with him, and I got rid of him. We're not going to work together, because he wasn't upfront with me. He just was very vague, and I wanted answers. You're dealing with my life, and all he was talking about was giving me an experimental chemotherapy, and it's just like, what do I look like, a guinea pig to you? They use all these fancy terms because society's become numb to it. It's almost as if, I guess I was sleeping before I got a cancer diagnosis. 1 in 2 men, they say 1 in 3 women will experience cancer in their lifetime here in America. And we look at the diet that we eat. But the third thing is build a healing team. And like I said, you want to put in the right doctors. For me, I had a primary care physician, I had a oncologist, I had another doctor that was just looking into it. Then I had my naturopath. My primary care physician ran my blood work. My oncologist was responsible for my PET scans because of insurance. It's sad. but the one who really ran the show. And then I had another doctor that just looked on to make sure everything was going okay. Like another set of eyes. Did you check this? Did you check this? Did they do this? Did they do this? Yeah. And then the one that ran the show for me was my naturopath doctor. That's the one who had the keys. That's the one I trusted because they were honest. They didn't have that demagogue approach. They had, for me, that spiritual component that is between you and God. My doctor can give me all the high dose vitamin C, all the other stuff, but I was going to have to do the work. And most people don't want to do the work. They'd rather sit down in a chair and let them basically pump poison into them. And that wasn't the road that I wanted to take. Like I said, I'm not against it, but I know it's not for me. And also building a healing team is friends, people that are around you that are for you, not people that are against you. And these people have to love on you. You're talking about, I have friends that, I call them 3 o'clock in the morning friends, because cancer is driven by fear. The cancer industry is driven by fear. It really is. And I was wondering, and I doubted whether it was going to work or not. I had my doubts, I had my fears. Whether naturopath medicine, whether high-dose vitamin C was going to work. And I built my healing team on friends that I knew. I didn't tell everybody because I didn't want to get everybody's opinion. You know, people saying I'm crazy. You know, some people did call me an idiot, call me a jerk, call me whatever. And I thank God that I stuck to my guns. I thank God that I was able to make the right decisions, and I'm here today. And I thank God for that. That because of the team that I built around me, the doctors, I'm here today. And things that I've learned is that make sure all your doctors are on the same page. You know, some oncologists don't want to work with you if they find out you're seeing a naturopath, which I think is sad. I think it's disgusting. In other words, your health, to me, the way I look at that, isn't the number one priority. Because if the naturopath doctor is getting it done with what they're doing, then he should be on board working with you. But you got to remember, you can hire and fire him because he works for you. Your insurance company pays him. So when I found that out, gone. I mean, the first oncologist I had was very arrogant, very self-centered, very pompous, narcissistic. We just didn't get along. If it was a street fight, I would have beat him up. He was just very nasty, very cold on how he talked to me. And I just didn't let him speak down to me or in a condescending manner. You know, I almost flipped on him in the office. And he was just like, whoa. Yeah, I said, yeah. We're about to get it on. We're about to get it on in here. So my second oncologist, cool, talks to me. I don't trust him anyway because I caught him in a couple lies. And so you got to do your homework, you know. The fourth thing is what I had to do was change my diet. For me, I believe in a plant-based diet. I did tons of juicing because no one's deficient in chemotherapy or radiation. Your body's deficient, from what I found, is nutrition. And a plant-based diet, which I'm still on, this isn't a sprint, because I get emails from people, how long should I be doing this? For the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. And that's the journey that I'm on, is a plant-based diet. I eat very little meat. I still do a lot of juicing every day. I do smoothies now. My initial diagnosis was nothing but juices and salads. And then my naturopath doctor I was working with at that time, he said, well, let's try some meat, let's try some rice, let's try some beans. And I couldn't handle the beans. They were too acidic because I had intestinal and it would burn. I couldn't handle the meat. So little by little, and now I'm happy I can eat, but I don't eat as much meat as I used to. And I thank God, and I'm weaning myself away from it. And if I do, it's probably a portion smaller than the palm of my hand. That's how much I eat. It used to be like big cheesesteaks I used to eat and everything, and big steaks. Now it's just small, and I'm done with it. Okay, the fourth thing is a plant-based diet. So let's go over the steps. Don't panic. Educate yourself. Build a healing team. The diet that I was on is plant-based diet, and most important is the spiritual component. Whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're Buddhist, whatever it is, that seek Him and learn to spend time with self. That communication, that divine relationship that you have. For me, being a Christian, my faith in God and the steps, a lot of things, if I was to write a book on how things just fell into place for me, where people just showed up out of nowhere. Even when I wanted to get high-dose vitamin C, and I didn't know there was a doctor. I was going to go to Arizona. I was thinking about going to Arizona for a treatment, and they gave me a doctor that was 2 miles away from me that did high-dose vitamin C. To me, that was a blessing. But it was constant steps like that that kept me in line and helped my body heal. It just wasn't one person. It just wasn't one thing that I done. It was a bunch of things that I had to do, and I continue to have to do it, and you have to do the work. And the most important part of all that is the spiritual component. And because you have to have a plan. There's something more to life that I look for, and you have to have that inner peace. Because there was a lot of noise when I initially got diagnosed with cancer, a lot of hurt and pain, a lot of unforgiveness within my heart, which affected the immune system. Plus a crappy diet didn't help. Plus not fulfilled, and just settling in life, whether it was in relationships, in career path, all these other things affect the immune system. And if there's these things that I can teach you, these are like 5 steps that I believe when you initially get diagnosed is something you need to look into. And once again, I'm not a doctor, but I can just speak from my experience. And these things were game changers. Is number 1, don't panic, because the industry is driven by fear. Number 2, you want to educate yourself so you can make educated decisions. Don't focus on the cancer. You can read up about it. Focus on how your body heals. The cancer's already been there for years. You just caught up with it. The third thing is build a healing team. Get the right doctors and friends on board to help you heal. All right. The fourth thing is the diet that I look for me is a plant-based diet I believe in. And the fifth thing is meditation and prayer. Get your vertical relationship with whoever you believe in, whatever you believe in. Don't matter to me who you are, the universe, whatever you're into, I'll still love on you, still hug on you. And I'm going to end this video here, and I want to thank you guys. And remember, you're alive, but are you living the life that you really want to live? And I do believe in true healing in spirit, soul, and body. I do believe it because I'm living it and I'm walking it. I want to thank you, and I want to thank you for your emails. Thank you for your prayers. God bless everyone. Thank you.